But right now, we have a very special interview with you. Joining us via Zoom, we have Laura Major, who is the CTO of CyPhy. And CyPhy makes some really amazing drones, some drone products. I want to have Laura, though, explain this all to us. Laura, hello. Thanks for joining Digital Trends Live.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for having me.
So I want to ask you, maybe you can walk us through what CyPhy does. I've been reading all about it this morning, but I want to kind of give our viewers the overview from your point of view.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, we are the pioneer in tethered drones. And so what that means is we have a cable, a very small, thin cable, kind of like a headphone cable, that connects the drone to a ground station. And that provides continuous power to the drone. So most drones are limited by the battery on board, and they can only fly for anywhere from 10 minutes to upwards of 20, 25 minutes. Our system can stay in the air continuously for hours, even for days. Our longest flight was around 200 hours, so went on for many days at a time of continuous flight.
I think that's. Also, oh, go ahead.
Just also all the communications happen over the tether as well. So both the command and control of the vehicle and the video down from the vehicle comes over the tether as well. So it's immune to any type of interception.
I think that's absolutely, that's true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, as far as you're not beaming over, the actual video feed to anywhere, it's directly connected. I can see a lot of advantages of that, especially talking about the battery life, being able to fly for that long, because the batteries on drones, that's one thing that doesn't seem to have really improved a ton over time. I mean, you're usually limited, I think, like a half hour is probably about the max, at least that I've seen. Maybe there's some other ones out there that will last longer than that. But being tethered, my first question just about this before we go more in depth in the products is, how long is the tether?
So we can go up to 400 feet.
Okay.
So our tether length supports that. It is a little longer, to deal with winds and whatnot. But we set our maximum altitude at 400 feet based on the FAA regulations. We've flown with longer tethers, so we have gone up to 1,000 feet actually in the past during the product development. But we then retuned everything down to the 400 feet because of, again, fitting into the FAA regulations.
Okay, so 400 feet, that's still a long ways. Yeah, I mean, you can go a long ways on 400 feet. With me, you probably wouldn't want me flying it anywhere near trees because I would already ruin it in a second, but that's why I'm not flying them. So you've got the up to a 400-foot tether. Like, what kind of applications do you see this being used for?
Yeah, so there are a few key applications that it's used for right now. So one is security. So if you want to be able to have monitor an area for a period of time, but you don't have a tower or another location where you can put a camera, you can just have our drone there, the park system, launch it and have eyes in the sky immediately. So we recently supported the Boston Marathon, for instance, where the emergency management response wanted to be able to monitor the crowd flow and kind of provide real-time information to the folks on the ground there. So that's one. Another big one is communications. So being able to launch basically the antenna or the cell capability up into the air at up to 400 feet, you can now extend and really create a communication network on the fly, an ad hoc communication network.
Like, how do you mean by that with an ad hoc communication network? Like, actually use that as the hub to beam out?
That's right.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
I can definitely see that, especially in like a security situation or an emergency. Say there's some kind of an emergency situation where cell lines are down and you need to that. Yeah, and you can park it up there.
So that's right. In a disaster situation, for instance, where all your infrastructure is wiped out, again, you can bring in a park and launch it and have it, stand up a communications infrastructure immediately.
Wow. And so you've been using this in these different kinds of situations.
That's right.
As it goes along. So, and you said maximum flying time, I mean, really is forever. I mean, as long as there's a power source and,
will last. That's right. The motors will last.
Yeah, and the components, hold up. So how big can you make how big are your drones?
So they are about 4 feet in diameter today, and park holds up to 6 pounds of payload. So it carries a camera and or radios. It can carry multiple payloads at a time, but it can hold up to 6 pounds and carry that up to the 400-foot limit.
Nice. Question coming in here on Facebook. I just saw Joe ask, can you chain them together and have multiple drones chained together?
Physically chained, no, we don't do that. But you can, yeah, you can connect them over a flight network.
Okay.
Yes, and be able to share data or control multiple drones from a single location, but not physically. We haven't experimented with that yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you would, but figured I would ask the question since it was in there. So a couple other questions here that I had too, just about the product. Like, so you see it obviously for the security issues, for communication issues. What other commercial applications are there for these?
Another one is emergency response. So for industrial locations, especially if there's a fire that breaks out, being able to get eyes on the situation and really understand the source of that fire quickly is very important. And so we've had a number of customers who purchased Park Systems as a part of their emergency response kit so that they have it available and ready to go. Again, the system only takes about 5 or 10 minutes to set up and have it at 400 feet, so they can very quickly respond when there is if there is a disaster on their facility. And
you probably, I'm assuming you can probably park it up there. You don't have to have somebody constantly monitoring it, like you would with a normal drone, and have to worry about all that.
It's fully autonomous. The system, the operator just sets the altitude and hits go, and it goes up and holds position and stays there without any operator input.
That's really cool. Well, as the CTO, where do you find your inspiration for going forward? Like, what are you looking at? What do you pay attention to when it comes to designing these drones?
Yeah, so I mean, we're looking at being able to support mobile missions. So right now, the system goes up and holds one single location, but there's been a lot of interest of, could we put the ground station on a vehicle and drive it away and have the air vehicle follow it?
Yeah.
Or even on a ground robot in the future. So we've been working on that capability, and that's something that we're getting close to being ready to provide to users. Also looking at other size vehicles, smaller vehicles, where you could take this capability into other environments. So I think, again, this idea of being able to have persistent, so you can fly continuously without that limitation, I think opens up a lot of opportunities. And again, adding in the intelligence, the autonomy, being able to pull that data, bring that to the user without having them, needing to control the system or interact in a flight sort of capacity, but really be able to focus on the data that's coming down from the drone. When you have something in the air for so many hours at a time, you really want the operator looking at just the result of that mission, not having to pay attention to every second of the flight.
Especially if you're in an emergency, an emergency situation or something like that, security, you don't want to waste your time, if possible on that. And talking to that kind of point, you mentioned, the autonomy is a big part of it. How much do you incorporate AI into this? Is AI something you're going to start using more and more, or what do you use currently with it?
Yeah, so certainly we're moving towards AI in a number of capacities. So we're looking at a lot of adding in perception, fusing across many different sensors on board, being able to have autonomous, many autonomous behaviors. We have autonomous behaviors today, but now taking it to the next level of, can you now start to detect areas of interest and manage your flight path based on that information. So that's what we're looking at is pulling those two together, the onboard autonomy with the being able to detect and identify areas of interest, whether that's again a source within a fire or whether that's someone coming into a crowd that you don't want there, and being able to go collect more data about that without having to bother the operator, and again just provide the key information back to the operator.
That is actually really interesting, an interesting use of AI, to have that. I guess I'm kind of imagining it kind of like you said, park it up there, say it's at a big event, you're at the Super Bowl or something, and there's something happening in a section that maybe security doesn't see, and it can just immediately alert, like there's something wrong over here.
That's right. So really turn the vehicle into a teammate for the operator. So forward, eyes ahead, where they don't have to think about it. They just get an alert back from their team member when there's something of interest.
Very cool. Well, and again, it's CyPhy, CYPHY. And where can people go to find more information about your products and follow up with everything that you're doing?
So we have a website, CyPhyWorks.com. That's probably the premier place to go. We're also have presence on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and all the typical places.
All the usual ones, yeah.
Yeah, on our website.
Well, Laura, thank you so much for hopping in with us today, too. I mean, really appreciate it, learning more about this product and CyPhy and the tethered drones. And you can follow up and watch this section again. Go check out their website right here on Digital Trends Live. Thank you, Laura, for joining us.